Welcome. I'm Robin from Western Mass, and this is, what is today? Sunday, May 23rd, 2021, and this is the Morgellons Call of the Week. So I'm just going to give a short introduction about me. I struggled with, people brought parasites and parasitic insects into my home. I had fleas and bed bugs and mites and springtails, and all of those are vectors for Morgellons. So then I had fleas and bed bugs and mites and springtails and Morgellons, and it took me a while to figure it out, because who could even imagine having all of that at once? I couldn't. And I was at my wit's end, and I really wanted to burn my house down. It's a big 3-story Victorian with a 3-story garage that was also infested. And I asked my pastors to pray for me, and they prayed that God would bring creative solutions into my life. And the next day I found Richard's book and this call, and it changed my life. And I did get my life back. It's been a hard, long journey. I got reinfected when I opened a Pandora's box of Christmas ornaments. And then I got COVID and couldn't do anything for months and months. And I'm just at the tail end of that now. I actually didn't wash my sheets for 3 days in a row, and I'm okay. I can walk barefoot in my house. In most of my house, I should say, and things are getting better. And I just made homemade ice cream today, sugar-free, gluten-free, stage 2, banana walnut ice cream. So it's a good day, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to give back, and I want to introduce you to Richard. So Richard wrote the book, and he has released 10 editions of this book because, unlike the medical community, Richard keeps learning. He keeps researching, and we are part of his research team. We tell him about things that are working for us when they are working for us. And he looks into it, and he keeps updating the book. So he's working on the 11th edition of the book. I'm working on a recipe book, which I hope to finish this year. I have so many great recipes, and because the diet is key, but it doesn't have to be boring or hard. It can be fun and interesting. You just have to get comfortable in your kitchen. And so Richard is here. He's here to answer questions. You can get the book as a free download. You can email him up to 3 questions a day if you needed to. Get on his email list. He'll give that information out later. And I'm so grateful to be his co-host. He helped me get my life back, and I know that we can help you get yours back. So yeah, welcome Richard Kuhns. Here he is.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. What a great introduction. This is the Morgellons event of the week. Every Sunday we do this. It's recorded on YouTube where everybody can watch it and refer to it. Gosh, Robin, after the pastor, you and your pastor prayed for creative solutions and you found my book, what did you do when you found the book?
Well, I started reading it.
You read it. Yeah, you read it.
And I took notes, and I started a binder with my notes, and I made Post-its and underlined things, and yeah. I dug into it.
And why do you think, you stated that participants can email me up to 3 questions a day. Why do you think it might be that somebody might have that many questions in one day?
People have more than that many questions in one day. Trust me, I talk to them all the time.
Panic. You wanted to burn your house down. You must have been in a state of panic.
Yes, I couldn't, I mean, even simple little things that went wrong, I couldn't think of solutions because I couldn't think.
Right.
Because of panic. Right.
And panic is a natural phenomenon, particularly when you're faced with something that is totally alien to you. Now, I mean, there are many things that are alien to us and we're faced with, and where do we usually go when we're faced with some kind of health issue or skin issue? Where do we usually go?
Doctors.
Doctors. Okay, so that's where I went, and that's where you went. And what happens?
Nothing.
Nothing. No.
If you're lucky, nothing. If you're lucky, nothing.
If you're lucky, nothing. That's right. So what usually happens?
They tell you you're psychotic.
Yeah, you have delusions of some kind of parasite, parasitosis, filet de trois or filet or some kind of technical term that says you have a fear of parasites, and they pass you off. And where does that put you mentally?
In a terrible place.
More panic, right? You didn't even think you had panic until you went to the doctor and found out that the doctor's suggesting that you see a psychiatrist because you're a stress overload and there's nothing wrong with you. Now we got panic. Where am I going to go? You know it's not mental. You know it. Many of us know where we contracted these things. I pulled a vine from a tree and a cloud of dust descended upon me. And exactly 3 days later, all hell broke loose and my life changed almost forever, what I thought was going to be forever. So I can pinpoint it. So no doctor can tell me it's in my head, in my brain, because I know exactly, and exactly at the same moment that I started with the itching and the biting, my significant other likewise started with the itching and the biting. She was a nurse, critical care nurse in a hospital, had access to and knew who all the best doctors were. So, yes, we went to the best doctors. She went to the best doctors. And at best, we got some creams and lotions. As you said, we find things that work, and we get excited about them, but make sure they work more than a week. Because everything we tried, the Elamite cream, the Lindane, the whatever, we got maybe 3 or 4 days relief. We were happy for 3 or 4 days, and then totally destroyed as all hell came back. Just frustrating. And off to another doctor. I mean, perhaps someone will call in later or ask to share. We've had one lady on here that swore that she had been to 21 or 22 doctors. What's the definition of insanity? Gets to that point.
Over and over, expecting different results.
Right. And that's where we get, because we're in panic. Some doctor, somebody's got to know what's going on here. And then we turn to the internet, and what do we find on the internet?
Not much, except what the doctors say.
Well, yeah, we find out what the doctors say. We find out what they say at the Mayo Clinic. We find out the research that was done by the CDC that basically says, well, it's not of organic origin. It's principally related to mental issues, over stress, and that kind of thing. More panic. Okay. And then we find some other things. We find things like magnets, and we find other stuff that is out there on the internet, and we go wild goose chasing. And during all of this, what happens to our finances? What happens to our job? What happens to our careers?
Down the tubes.
Down the tube. Yeah, down the tube. People end up losing a 6-figure income. They end up on the street. They end up helpless. It's sad. No wonder there's panic. There's so much panic. And Today we also have Margie with us. Hi, Margie.
Hi, Richard.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Very grateful to be here.
Fantastic. Last week I was looking forward to having you because that we could talk about this topic. Many people are probably tuning in and they want to know, well, all right, how do I deal with Morgellons? How do I get it fixed? What do I take? You go on Facebook and you find a question, and this guy says, oh, well, try Diproline or something like that. Well, it worked for him. Well, and so it goes on and on and on, and there's no answers. What works for one guy is unlikely to work for another person. True, right? So it all comes back to panic, and this is the subject of today. And you're the expert on qualities of resiliency. What qualities of resiliency might we, because our goal here is we all know panic is a normal part of this thing. So how do we acknowledge it, stop it, and then create that to a call to action? Take those emotions of frustration, aggravation, upset, confusion, and anger, and create a call to action through qualities of resilience, for instance.
Right.
Well, Richard, it isn't a quick fix, that's for sure. And it's complex. However, some of the solutions are very simple, but they're not easy. They're not easy. The first thing I try to practice is to just pause when I'm agitated and I'm starting to get into a place where I get emotional. I try to pause. And we talked in the first quality of resiliency, we talked about connecting with a higher power or self, and knowing that there's safety in that connection, and affirming that. And just being able to pause and breathe and allow whatever's happening to happen in the moment is the pathway to solution.
That is fantastic, because you really hit the nail on the head there. Instead of turning to the doctors that we turn to and looking for someone like that to know what's going on, turn to self, the higher power within you. Turn to the creative self, because that's where the answers lie.
And my doctor was a wonderful man. He was a CEO of a huge medical group of medical centers, and he said to me, and he was brilliant, he was a Japanese fellow, and he said to me, Margie, I believe you. I believe everything that you're telling me, and I'm not trained to help you. So I was so graced with being validated by someone who was brilliant enough to know what he didn't know. I mean, he gave me he gave me what he could, the prednisone papers, and honestly, I kind of, what I'm reading now is that was the best thing that someone could give someone at that stage of my illness, and I kind of wish I kept trying them, because I just said, forget it, these doctors don't know what they're doing. But in the beginning, I was on ivermectin and prednisone paper, and it did help somewhat. But my point isn't about the treatment, Richard. My point is that I was validated, and I was so lucky to be validated.
That is so important. That is so important. There are so many doctors. There are so many stories that I've heard. For instance, one lady drove like 4 hours to see this super specialist and was examined by him, and he was training other physicians, training interns at the time. He had 4 interns with him, and after he examined the lady, he had her stand in front of him and all of her interns, and he stated to them, this is a classic case of delusions of parasites.
But we don't want to focus on that, Richard, though, because that's so negative.
No.
And move forward and say, thank you, God, that there's a solution and that there's a fellowship of people who understand what I'm going through and who validate me, and that Richard has solutions here, tangible treatments that we can follow. There's a diet we can follow. There is a solution. There are people who have made it out. That's what we focus on, you know. Why focus on the negativity of people who cannot and will not help us?
That's absolutely correct, and it would be so nice if we were able to get that from the physicians that we all go see. Like your doctor said, hey, I see you have something, I'm just not trained and know what to do. That is so great.
And he also said we're not trained.
Yes,
Right.
That's important. I happened to luck out. I must have gone to maybe a dozen doctors myself, and one doctor I went to knew of bird mites, and he knew of a situation at a county fair where there was a tent with infected straw or hay, I don't know which, and everybody that went into that tent during the fair was infected with mites. And he was familiar with that, and he was familiar with how that can happen. Most doctors and most experts say that can't happen, but he was, and I so thankful for him. And he also knew that a medication called Primazod was effectively used for that in that situation, which was tremendously valuable, important for me in my journey, although I've been often criticized for passing that information along that I learned from him and that also worked for me. So it's so good to have, and last week while you were not here, the update last week was about a single case study done in Canada, and the researchers were Medivahan and Strickler, and Middleveen. Okay, well, I keep messing up. Okay, so Middleveen, and this lady had gone into the hospital, was examined. They did tests on her. Instead of calling her delusional and so forth, they put her on antibiotics. They followed her through the treatment. If we could all get that kind of attention and that kind of respect, we would be in a different world. We would be. People wouldn't be losing their homes and losing their friends and family and being ostracized, which often is the case.
Yeah, so I think things are changing, and I have hope and faith that this at some point this will be recognized. It already is becoming recognized as a physical illness. But in the meantime, we're here. We are here, and we have solutions. And that's what we must focus on. We cannot put ourselves into a victim mentality. We are not victims. We can make new choices. We can move forward. There are solutions. That's called optimism. We talked about that the last time I was here. We don't, we don't marinate in the past disappointment. We stay in and we don't discount our suffering. There is an enormous amount of suffering with this illness, true suffering. However, and it's not optimism to negate that, to diminish it, and pretend it isn't there. We need support, we need comfort, we need each other to help us get through the dark days. The thing we need to do is focus on the future. And I love Robin, because she is an optimist, and she's a warrior. And she focuses on the future. And I've seen her and witnessed her and been her friend when she's been walking through hell. And she focuses on the future, and she keeps doing the next right thing. She keeps doing the next positive step no matter what. Whether it's either rice or, so many things that Robin has done to get better, even while she's sick in bed with COVID, she had rice machines going on and this going on and that going on. She's amazing. So we want to be a real warrior like that and keep moving forward and use our spiritual foundation and use our optimism, which is looking to the future for bright hope and not marinating in the past. And yes, we've all been mistreated in our past in lots of different ways, but we don't want to get stuck there. We want to move on forward.
Let's not let our past define who we are.
Absolutely not.
And there is no future in pessimism. So we move forward.
I just want to say one thing. I was out yesterday and I went to a couple of stores. I found this necklace and it says, you probably can't see it, but it says, "Stay hopeful."
Stay hopeful.
So I am actually wearing those words around my neck. And yeah, it's amazing.
Okay. So if anyone would like to share your experiences of what you're going through, again, panic is a part of life. Our goal here is to give you the tools, the pep talks, whatever you want to call them, to convert that so that you sit down, you read the book, you do what Robin has done, you do what other people have done. That many people who get through this read the book as many as 8 times, and they put in Post-its, and they refer to it constantly. It's a research project. It's the culmination.
Can I ask a question, Richard?
Yes.
I know for me, we all suffer different symptoms. I have an incredible amount of brain fog sometimes, and concentration is very difficult for people who are having brain fog, and it might be really difficult to concentrate on a book. Is there a way for us to get this in some kind of an audio version?
Well, I'd be looking at I'm working on the 11th edition now. I have a couple of people who have offered to do that, and you are absolutely correct that you're a mind reader, Margie, because reading is one sense. The more senses we use, the more effective our learning is. And so reading is one sense. Visual, as you read, you can mouth the words or talk them out, so you actually hear the words. So that's the auditory sense, the visual sense. And then if you have Post-its, there's a reason for Post-its. You write things down. Ideally, you take a full sheet of paper and you outline it. This is what I learned. This is what I did in college to get me almost a 4.0 average, is that I took everything I read and I converted it in my own words in an outline, and I studied that outline, and I studied what I wrote. So I knew it. I was the subject. So you use this, and you will be the subject. So that's why we suggest, putting your powers to work. Now, as far as brain fog, we all go through the brain fog thing. And might be interesting that Barbara and I are working on a brain fog annihilator. It's using clary sage, which is an amazing oil that stimulates intelligence, and well, we hope to be out with it in a week or two. We're looking at it's going to include eucalyptus and lemon oil, and we're looking to see what other carrier oils we might need for it. So that's something that's coming out. Boosting Max-1, boosting glutathione is often very beneficial in clearing out brain fog as well. But yes, brain fog contributes to panic, and when you read that book, the more senses you can use, the more effective your learning will be. Thank you.
Can I just bring something else up? And this is like the other thing, but people might even, if people have each other's phone numbers, might even have a book, read the book together. They could do that together,
Excellent, excellent. The buddy system. Use the buddy system.
And read, like if someone has a hard time reading, and I can understand, not all of us, even before we got sick, were great, readers. It's just not our natural way of getting information. We're more sensual maybe, and we take information in with another way. So the fellowship of having a book club, and on the phone we can read the book together and talk about it and mull it over and so forth. Yeah.
That's an excellent idea. Something we might add some way in this call somehow. That we might incorporate perhaps. But that's great. The buddy system or some kind of reading club that we do online. That's super. Thank you, Margie. Thanks. So it's important to take everything you can to knock out the panic. And hopefully what we've shared here today will go a long way to your success. I've shared this example many times. Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker, in one of her books, has an example of the late guy walking along, falling into one of these pits they use to catch lions or tigers, and he called for help, and he couldn't. Nobody was there. He called for help, and nobody was there, and eventually he figured out how to get out of the pit himself. So we all fall into this pit. That's why we're here. We're a common community of people who have fallen into this pit of skin parasites, Morgellons, and unknown to us, the medical community is relatively ignorant about them, so there's nobody coming. No doctors are helping us get out of this pit. It's up to us, and that's what the book is about. That's what this program is about. That's what asking me 3 questions a day is about. That's why we're here. That is to help you get out of this pit, to support you. It's up to you to use the diet, to ask questions about the diet. We're here to benefit you. We're here so that you can one day say, because of you, Margie and Robin and Chris, and I got my life back. And Robin, your next step is to make ice cream with sugar like I did today. Well, I don't use sugar. I use honey.
Well, it tasted great with the stevia, but yeah, I'm going to hold off on the sugar.
I know stevia is great, but and I've been in the pit. We're all been in the pit personally. You know, people say, "Oh, well, Richard, you know, what's your experience? What did you deal with?" You know, well, Columbla, Strongyloides cervicalis, Lyme disease that almost took my life, Morgellons, skin fungus. I've been through it all. The knocks of hard life. It's not like I'm in some ivory tower doing research in some microscope telling you what's going on and what works or what should work. In fact, the people that do the research don't even know what to do in terms of how to effectively treat you other than antibiotics. And antibiotics are great. They give you a quick fix. A quick fix, but not a long-term fix. Their research, 10 out of 12 people with Lyme disease, 2 of them with Morgellons, demonstrated that antibiotics do not fix Lyme disease long-term. So it's up to us to do it. I got my life back. I'm 99.5% from Lyme disease. It almost killed me. My 24/7 pain, I couldn't even write my name. Everything's normal now. So
that's up for debate.
What's that?
I'm just joking. I said that's up for debate.
Oh, okay. Almost normal. Richard abnormal. Thank you. Okay. Has anybody texted anything that'd like to share your experiences with this? We talked about panic last week. Hopefully some of you can perhaps share how you took a bite out of panic since last week. I mean, we could do this subject every week, because once you deal with a panic, you get into the book, you get into the program, you get results. This is the precursor to getting your life back. Has anybody texted in, called in? This will be a short segment then.
No, Richard.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll close this.
They have. I'm
oh,
sorry.
Okay.
I can't. My cell phone takes down everything I say if I have a text message. So, okay. So, let's see. There was one question, if I can find it. Well, Alba had questions, and her last numbers are 5059. And Chris, if you could open her line, she would like to ask questions. Also, someone had texted me, and they wanted to know if you're not able to do the diet, is there adjustments that can be made? And I don't know of any reason why you wouldn't be able to do the diet unless you're living in a nursing home or a hospital.
Yeah, that could be a significant issue.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my question is that right now at the moment, I'm disinfecting my room again. I'm constantly cleaning, vacuuming, dusting, sprays for my clothes, what do they call it, like a sanitizer. I do everything with the floors, with the beddings, everything. Give me some advice because I'm doing so much, and where would I begin? And
well,
number
one, are you on the diet? Are you strict with the diet?
Right now, I got to tell you right now, I haven't started it yet. This is my second time that I get online. I've already read about the diet.
Don't know how to help you. Alba, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to help you. Until you're on that diet, you're a walking, talking, breeding parasite machine.
Oh, I agree. The diet I began somewhat. I pretty much eliminated almost all foods, especially sugars, cream, cheese.
Now I have bad news for you. There's no almost with this diet. It's either 100% or nothing. You have one little tic-tac breath mint, and you're not on the diet, and you got problems.
I came to a point where I didn't eat for 3 days, and I went on a fast diet. I've brought supplements. I don't want to get into it right now, but I need the book. I want the book so I can turn the pages so I can, do the diet, but also the disinfecting and the cleaning and everything else.
You have a copy. You have a copy of the diet.
No, I have the book. I have it online, but I don't have a computer. And I ask people, but so many pages, so I want the hard copy, the book itself.
Okay. Well, the diet itself is in a small file that I'll be glad to email you.
I got it. I saw that today.
Okay.
I saw that.
Yeah, it went out as an attachment, so you can look at that. And it's got stage 1, what you can eat and what you can't eat, and then it's got stage 2, what you can go there. And to get to stage 3, I have to charge you $500.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Oh, my God. Lots of children.
But stage 1 and 2 are free.
Now that we got this far, I can say this much. I know about nutrition, I know about health, I know about supplements, I know about diets, I know about the parasites, I know about the fungus, I know about the disease, I know about all of that stuff.
So you know that pretty much every supplement is not on the diet for stage 1,
exactly.
except for the one in Richard's store, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what stage I'm in, but because I've done a lot of healing on myself.
Well, if you're still getting bitten,
again, it all goes back to the diet. So when you are 100% on the diet, then we can talk. You may not have any more problems with disinfecting. Once you're 100% on the diet, your disinfection problems may have cleared up. Again, the book goes into all the details. It goes into ozone. It goes into the triple pesticide. By the way, Robin, for years, my patio under the swing next to the fish pond has been my nemesis. I've gotten reinfected there a few times over the years because the raccoons broke into my fish pond, stole the fish, and laid underneath the swing to consume them, contaminate that area. And I've done Biffin granules, I've done lime sulfur there, and nothing has worked except your Garden Safe Fungicide 3.
Is that stuff amazing or what? Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Am I still on the phone?
Garden Safe Fungicide 3 is a phenomenal product. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's probably. You can get it for inside use. You can get, if you don't like ammonia is less expensive, but this is even probably much better than ammonia. You can get it for inside use. You can get it in a spray bottle already mixed, but you could also get it with a heavy purple cap and mix your own so you can make it stronger if you need to. And then you can get it outside. For outside, it connects to a hose, so it pre-mixes as you spray it everywhere. And it's awesome. It's awesome. It knocks them right out.
70% neem oil, and it's an organic gardening pesticide.
So you don't have to worry about chemicals and pesticide, stuff like that. It's a phenomenal product. Thank you, Robin. So each of us brings something to this program. We learn from each other. I've brought the diet, and since then, a lot I've learned from people that have gone through the knots of life as I have and gotten their lives back to one degree or other. So this is how we learn. This is what the book is comprised of.
Can I say something, Richard, about the diet?
Certainly. Yes.
I like to say this saying, if you don't know what God's will is, then pray for it. If you do know what God's will is and you just can't do it, and diets are hard. We have great emotional attachments to food, many of us. And if we're in a traumatized state, which many of us are, it's very hard to let go of that food, comfort food. So, if you know what God's will is and you can't do it, the thing you need is support. So it'd be a perfect person to get a buddy and get someone to help you. And Alba, I'd be happy to be a support person to you if you want.
No, that's all.
Okay.
Yes, diets are not easy. I personally hate diets. I was in my profession was dealing with emotional eating. We didn't do diets to drop weight and get thin. We dealt with the emotional aspects. So the idea of diet, I always poo-poo and said, babies use diet. Weight Watchers, they are babies. They use diets. Hey, it all went out the window when I started this elimination diet and started getting my life back. My whole attitude, at least about diet and dealing with these organisms, completely changed.
Okay.
Right, and the thing is, I was so skeptical about the diet. I remember when I had Lyme, and someone said, "Oh, I got well by just cutting out sugar," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." But the thing is that this diet leaves so much room for creativity. I am having so much fun making recipes and learning how to cook creatively foods that starve parasites. So,
I can hardly wait till we see your book, Robin.
I want to illustrate it.
Making me hungry.
I know.
Well, anyway, when you go on, yes?
The person who asked about what if you can't keep the diet texted me more info. They said they're in a hotel and they can't cook. So I would like us to talk about that for a few minutes. If you could talk about restaurants and how to order food.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is typical. It's easy to go to restaurants. I did it for years, and I explained to the waiter or waitress that was taking my order that I had extreme food sensitivities to oils and things of that nature, and so I would look at the menu. And I'd pick about 2 or 3 items that look like I could have, and then I would quiz them. Sometimes I would even have the chef come over and quiz the chef to make sure there was nothing in there that would be a problem. And the biggest problem you generally have in restaurants is instead of using real butter, they might use a blend or a butter substitute. You do not want to have any blend. So you either take your own butter with you or you ask them to no blends. Use real butter. You're paying a lot of money. So they'll be glad to make you happy so you keep coming back.